A new opinion piece in the New York Post with a pretty dire headline. The author wrote that President Biden is flailing in the face of challenges from inflation to jobs to the border, and says that the media are giving him a pass. Senator John Kennedy, Republican from the great state of Louisiana, joins me now. Good to see you, Senator. Let's start with that. It seems like an ostrich approach. Just stick your head in the ground.
Well, we're facing a number of challenges, we meaning America. I would emphasize, not exclusively, but I'd certainly emphasize the fact that Iran, to whom and to which President Biden would like to see the United States of America make love, is bombing the hell out of our only true friend in the Middle East, Israel. But of all the problems you've listed, my advice to the White House is, look, instead of honking on like a goose, solve them. Now, I'm not saying it'll be easy, but every one of the problems that has been mentioned has a solution. Let's take borders, for example. If you're interested in securing the border, the solution is easy. Just go back to doing what we were doing in December. I'm not sure that President Biden is interested in solving the problem, though. I think one or two things are going on with respect to the border, Harris. Number one, he either believes in open borders, or number two, the person he's put in charge of securing the border has been day drinking again. Now, if he believes in open borders, and by his actions he does, he needs to stand up, look the American people in the eye and say, hey, I told you I wasn't for open borders, but I lied. I am for open borders. I think vetting people at the border is racist. I don't think America will agree with him, but at least they would maybe give him a high score for honesty. Now, if the person he's got in charge of border security really is day drinking, and fire him, and let's put somebody down there who understands the problem and the solution. He inherited, he meaning President Biden, a relatively secure border, and he's broken it here in, what, a few months?
You know, Senator, I know you're saying it in jest about the day drinking, and it's not a him, actually. It is a her, and it is the Vice President of the United States, and this is the person in charge. Should she not be in charge of this anymore?
Well, Vice President Harris, for whom I have great respect, but her solution is to throw bucket loads of taxpayer money at the Northern Triangle countries in Central America. Let me tell you why that won't work. It'll be wasted and it'll be stolen. And none of that money will make it to the people because the governments of the Central American countries to which he would like to give all this taxpayer money are authoritarian, and they have people in them that will steal it. The solution to securing the border is securing the border. Just go back to doing what we were doing in December.
All right. The former acting director of national intelligence, Rick Grenell, says someone else in the White House, Senator, is calling the shots behind the scenes. Let's watch, and then I'll get your first reaction.
President Biden is too weak to stop the progressive lefts from taking over the domestic and foreign policy. Yep. Kamala Harris does not understand what's going on because she's not an expert on foreign policy. And Susan Rice is really happy that Biden is too weak. Kamala is totally distracted with the 50-50 Senate and has to be up at the Senate. She's running the show. We have a shadow president in Susan Rice, and no one is paying attention.
Senator Kennedy, your reaction?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know what's going on with the White House. But I know who the president is. It's President Biden, and he is responsible for all of this. You know, inflation. The White House is wringing its hands about inflation. I don't know why it's surprised, given the breathtaking profligacy of the White House. I mean, let me put it another way. If we discovered life on Mars tomorrow, I think President Biden would try to send it money. I mean, his spending is breathtaking. Why do you think we have inflation? And it could destroy our recovery.
4.2% in April. I mean, experts and analysts of the markets are saying that it is explosive, and it is now weighing in some ways on the markets that we're watching.
Well, yes, and just take infrastructure. I don't know how many squillion dollars he wants to spend on infrastructure. I do know this. In his infrastructure bill, President Biden is asking me to buy a car to get the cup holders. 95% of the infrastructure bill is not infrastructure. If he wants to pass a reasonable infrastructure bill, we're ready. Let's limit it to roads and bridges and ports and sewer and water and broadband. And number two, let's forget about raising the corporate income tax. Let's sit down and have an adult discussion about ways to do that, including maybe closing some of the special interest loopholes in the corporate income tax. But we don't have to raise the rate from one of the most competitive in the world to one of the least competitive. Now, will that be easy? No, but that is a solution to this problem.
It is so fascinating to hear you tick this down, because the president has indicated he wants day two of what he saw with the top four in the House and Senate yesterday in the White House with Schumer, Pelosi, McCarthy, and McConnell. And
he's not going to solve it with the top four.
Republicans.
He's not going to solve the problem with the top four.
Is he going to solve it with any Republicans?
Well, he could.
What you said.
He could, but no disrespect to our leadership. I love Senator McConnell, but he's not going to solve it with just calling the management over there. Looks, how can I put this? Senators are like cats. They do what they want. And in order for us to agree to a bill, everybody's going to have to be involved. But there's a way to do an infrastructure bill. We want to do one. We just want to do an infrastructure bill, not something else.
All right, I want to get to this. Millions of Americans still facing gasoline shortages as the Colonial Pipeline works to get back to normal after a cyber attack. Those Russian crime gang hackers. Tensions so high that played out at a gas station in North Carolina that you have to just see it to believe it.
Oh, Yo.
Fists flying between that man and woman as they tear at each other's clothes and just go for it, hurting each other. Look at this. Someone apparently cut the line and got this started. Meanwhile, the White House now is finally admitting there is actually a fuel shortage, but defending its earlier language, downplaying the crisis. They just don't like that word, maybe.
On Monday, we said, on Monday afternoon, so 48 hours ago, we said, at this moment, there is not a supply shortage. That was accurate at this moment. We also said that we are continuing to monitor very closely what the impact will be.
Senator Kennedy, a lot of pressure on Americans. You've been talking about the things that matter to the most, and that pressure coming from it doesn't seem to matter to the White House potentially most. How do you cover up all those cars in line? And now people are reaching their breaking point.
Well, there are times, not always, but there are times I think that President Biden may have a blind spot on some issues about the lives and concerns of ordinary Americans. When you're trying to feed your family and educate your kids, the price of gasoline matters. I can tell you how not to solve this problem. You don't solve this problem by spending a gazillion dollars on building 500,000 charging stations for electric cars when only a handful of Americans drive them. In terms of the way the federal government can help, number one, we need to gather the facts about what happened. Number two, we need to turn to the private sector and say, what as a government can we do to help you harden your security in terms of these cyber attacks? Number three, we can hold Vladimir Putin responsible for this, because I think he is. And number four, we could stop demonizing fossil fuels and understand that we cannot run the greatest economy in all of human history by putting fairy dust and unicorn urine in our cars. Now, there's a way to lessen the carbon impact of oil and gas through carbon capture, storage, and utilization, and we ought to be talking about that. But that's not what the the wokeristas and the White House want to do. They want to just get rid of all oil and gas, and it's totally unrealistic.
I tell you, we ticked down a lot of topics that the White House is dealing with right now. The president said yesterday that, you know, he really can't take very many questions. We've heard that from him before.
Well, all of these problems can be solved. Harris, there are solutions. I'm not saying they're easy, but they're solutions. One solution, though, is not wringing your hands and honking on like a goose. Roll up your sleeves and let's get busy.
All right, Senator Kennedy from the great state of Louisiana, always great to have you on the program. Good to see you.
Thanks, Harris. Thanks.